Well, hello everybody. I believe it's time to give you part two of what was going on and what has been going on in my present life. It's quite difficult because I know some of it is like going back and sort of, so there'll be a little bit of backwards and throwing over the course of these videos that I'm going to post, and I'm trying to keep them quite short and sweet just so it's easier to view and just so it's easier to sort of integrate. But obviously as things have happened, more things are happening, so it's quite, as we're flowing, things are presenting themselves in new and wonderful ways, and also some of them not so the tests that come from the realizations and the awareness and the opening up no longer allows certain old patternings to repeat themselves, and suddenly it's like, I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm not going to, and then you find yourself going into this ego mode of then trying to control it and all sorts of crazy things that the ego can do. And it's a little bit like stepping out of your way so that you can, feel that presence again and feel that connection that we've never lost, we've just forgotten. But the ego has this effect that suddenly we start questioning, we start wondering whether it was all real, whether... and then you try and control it, or you're trying to control your environment and the people around you, and then you get really frustrated because they don't understand, or they don't get it, or they're still following certain routines or patternings that really start to like grind you, because it's like you want to shake everybody and go, wake up, can't you see? So I know, even though I've had this magnificent opening, and when I was in the flow, everything flowed. Everybody around me flowed. The healing was not just for myself; it extended outways, and the synchronicities and the healings and the flow was beyond anything that I've felt that I can remember. And also. I was in a very slow down place. It was like I was on a very slow speed. There was not loads of chatter going on. There was not a load of chatter around me. I was in a very slow flowing, and it was immense. Now, this course of events, I know I've been in hospital, and I know there's a lot more that I'd like to delve into about that, but I'm just going to try and go back to where the trigger of where everything started to change, and this was down to somebody that had contacted me via my webpage with regards to some possible insight into healing works and what possibilities there were for healing somebody with cancer. And it ended up that this seemed to, I reached out and, was aware that we could have a session, and what happened from that session, it seemed to turn completely on its tail. And that person offered me an exchange. So in respect to me offering a Skype session and a healing energy session, this person offered me a reading there and then. And I accepted, and throughout that reading, and this was 2 weeks ago to the Saturday 2 weeks ago, and throughout that reading, I suppose I assumed it would be like a half hour, 1 hour, sort of information, but it seemed to go on over the course of the day, and the amazing insights that came through from that were incredible, and it paved the way for all sorts of things to come from that. It was almost like I've been, in this place, which, I've been in, some of you that know me, it's been a bit of a testing place for me in the last couple of months. And this almost just suddenly just moved me out of my way, and I could see everything in front of me. And all the things that I'd put in my way or allowed, manipulations or other people's ideas, I'd actually stood in my way. And in some ways I'd given my power away to that. But the learnings that came, and also the knowledge that came through in this reading was beyond. I mean, I know I've done readings for others and I've done work for others, obviously. And I know some people have been really blown away by the accuracy, or, and they've probably done exactly what I've done in the last couple of weeks, is allow the process to happen, and then you sort of step into this ego and go, well, how do they know that? Is that true? Is this real? And you start going into ego, and you just pull it apart. And I'm a human, and human traits is a very interesting place, because being on receiving of this information, at the time it was all flowing, it was all just wow, it was expanding everything within me. As soon as I pulled away from it, I went and had a shower, and in the shower I started having all these questions, well, who is this? Does this person know me? Because of the accuracy of everything. And then I started questioning. But I still tried to go back into that place. So from that session, the course of events that happened was that I reconnected with my past partner. We'd split up. We'd been separate for 3.5 months, and I saw truth in everything that had stepped in our way, and I was able to speak with him and ask for his assistance, because I also had a court case in Cornwall on Tuesday, which is another thing that was holding over my head, And you forget how all of these worries and things really do have an effect on your daily living life. I'm just going to pause there because we've just had a little bit of an interruption. Okay, I'm back with you. That's the great thing about being a single parent and just being interrupted by your son at any time, Anyway, the idea of this video is to give you more insights as to what's going on, and how I understand how when you're on the receiving end of guidance or healing works of any kind, how you start to question it and pull it apart, and but from that I allowed the flow. I then went to Cornwall and I asked my partner if he'd accompany me, because I was aware that I was going to go on my own. Such an independent, fiery soul that I am, I do everything on my own. And he agreed, and you know what, we had the most fab time. We connected on such a level. He was very supportive, and we really made some awesome advances and releasing a load of stuff that both of us needed to heal. We almost created more blocks karmically. And even though we're, in this field of energy working and healing and spiritual, we're very spiritual beings. The awareness that the block that we'd almost recreated, as well as why we'd come together to clear, we were creating more. So it was, honestly, the release of so much stuff happened. And it ended up, funny enough, we stayed overnight. Not that there was any of that going on, but it was very open, it was very beautiful, and we talked so much, and awareness just kept flooding through me, and suddenly I could see things so clearly, and it was so mind expanding, body expanding, that I just continued in this flow. I could see blocks in my energy field that as soon as I saw them, I went into them saw threads off of them to different people, different things. And I was able to see my co-creation of any of the troubles or any of the difference in how you sort of feel things are different with a different person, and you don't know why, that you're not as close as you once were. And these threads were able to sort of give me this viewpoint. It was like movie strips. I feel that I've been doing this massive movie strip of my whole life, and how the responsibility that I now take in co-creating my present, and also the co-creation of the relationships that I have in my life presently, and how certain relationships have got a little bit of a stickiness to them, or not as much as they're not as close as they were. And it's all about healing these traumas. They're like black dots in your energy fields. And that by healing everybody associated with them, that suddenly those black dots can just be dissolved and released. And as you're doing all of this work, it's like you just get lighter, vibrate more. It is, I keep saying crazy, and I'm trying not to say crazy. It is just immense. But the word doesn't stop there, because this is, obviously at the moment I'm dealing with this lifetime, and obviously there are other lifetimes that have had influence, and there are past life experiences or parallel lives that have also come into my consciousness that have had connections with. But also that what I'm finding presently is the integration without the ego trying to step in and pull it apart, or try to sort of stamp on you in this knowledge of, okay, you've got to this place of holiness, of accepting the Christ light into you, of being able to flow and allow everything to just be love, and then to sort of find yourself then stepping out of that, because the ego wants to have a little niggle, and before you know it, the vibration starts to come down. You start interacting at a different level with other people, especially the ones closest to you. And, separation is key. Separation and recentering. And this is our responsibility. And it's the responsibility of every one of us out there, is to embody Christ consciousness, and to be the best we can be in every role in our life, and to fully embody it, that every waking moment, every part of our lives, and even not just waking moments, but everything is aligned with love, and how once you're in that alignment, everything flows beautifully. Anyway, that's part 2 of my journey so far, and I hope you like and share, and continue following until we come to the next part of the journey very soon. See you soon. Bye.